So after speaking with over hundreds of business owners, hundreds of coaches and consultants, the one thing that they struggle with is actually outputting themselves out of their service, out of their system, out of their coaching program, and knowing how to systemize their system. So in this video today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build or scale a system where you're not in it, you can actually oversee it, and you can predictably know where you're going to hit every single month instead of guessing, instead of just taking a bunch of sales calls, instead of just posting a bunch of brainless content or content that you don't know if it will convert, right? There's no scalability in you not knowing. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to systemize your marketing, systemize your sales, and systemize your fulfillment. That way you, the founder, you can worry about something in specific that I'm going to talk about later along the video, but let's get going. First thing that you need to realize is you need to systemize, you as a founder, right, into 3 different pillars. Pillar number 1 being marketing, so that'd be like paid ads, that'd be organic, that'd be affiliate marketing. Wherever you can get your face out there, that's what marketing is, okay? Now sales, I'm talking DM setters, appointment setters, closers, dialers, whatever it might be, right? Fulfillment as in CSMs, people like coaches, consultants inside, maybe like AI potentially. That's what fulfillment means. Now let's start with marketing, right? Marketing is literally going to be the most important one. It's the first most important one. It's the one that's going to get you the leads. It's the one that's going to get you the money in the door, not sales. Because I want you to realize, right, that marketing is literally 80%. So it's 80% of the actual sale alone. So this is going to be the most important one, marketing. All right. Now, how do we systemize marketing? First, we got to know what marketing is, right? What types of marketing are we running? Okay. So usually the main one is organic, right? Because it's free, right? People want to do something that's free, so they do it anyways, okay? So first one would be organic, second one would be paid, so paid traffic, right? Other one could be affiliate work, right? That's basically the big 3 forms of organic. Then it could be like long form. Omnipresence just meaning you posting as many times as possible, right? Whether it be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, wherever much you could be, you really don't want to worry about that because you're posting so many different times, you could care less, right? You don't really want to overview everything. You don't want to post. It's really just a bunch of waste of time. So those are all the forms of marketing that we're going to talk about this video, right? Now, with this marketing alone, right, you don't want to really handle all of this, right? So the way that you're going to systemize every single one of these marketing channels is by literally plugging yourself out of it, right, and getting a content director, okay? This is going to be the only way for you to actually plug into it, right? Because essentially, you need to realize that with affiliates, you're talking to multiple people. With the long form editor, you're talking to multiple people. You yourself are doing your organic. Paid, maybe you're talking to some ad guy. Omnipresence, somebody to actually manage your reels that you're posting 24/7. Now, somebody needs to manage those. And the reason why most businesses fail is because they're talking to 4 to 5 different people in each different sector. When in reality, you should only be talking to one head, right? In this video, I'm going to show you how you're only going to talk to 3 heads and only 3 heads, which allows you to, now I'm just going to say it, to think as a business owner. As a business owner, you shouldn't be working. You shouldn't be working at all. 90% of your time as a business owner should be actually making content assets that are gonna convert, number 1. Number 2, thinking. Thinking is the best skill and the best use of your time you're gonna use if you're a coach, okay? So now back to the content director. The content director is literally gonna have the same issue you're gonna have, right? With managing 5 separate people, but the content director doesn't have to manage the sales, and it doesn't have to manage the affiliate, or doesn't have to manage the sales, and it doesn't have to manage the fulfillment, which is why he's able to do this. Now, if the content director ever gets overwhelmed because you're scaling to a couple million a month, right? Now you're hiring VAs below them. Now you're talking editors, media buyers, affiliates. Now the content director can physically talk to the VAs, right? And that plugs you out of talking to the VAs. Okay, you're only talking again to one person, right? So VAs, media buyers, media buyers, maybe editors. however many people the content creator or the content director needs, you're gonna have to hire for them, right? Again, you're only talking to this big person right here. You're only communicating to this big person, right? Because if you're talking to only this person and that person communicates that language or whatever you guys spoke about to the VAs or to the media buyers or to the editors, that plugs you out of this system alone, right? Now, for organic, I want you to realize that the more volume that you post, the better, right? So that's how you're gonna take care of the marketing system, right? Now, in the last video, I spoke about the 7-11 rule, right? Which is literally 100% true, right? I wasn't lying about that. So how on earth, right, if you're only talking to 3 people, are you gonna even facilitate the 7-11 rule, right? So now you're gonna have a head of sales. So this could be a sales manager or maybe like a GO or whatever it might be, right? A head of sales. This head of sales, the only job he's gonna have, right, is to hire the DM setters, hire the closers, the dialers. So it's like closers, right? So now you have dialers, right? Now you're gonna have DM setters, right? So now you have all these different systems right here, okay? And you're not talking to any of the closers. So the closers could be like 15, 20, 30, however many closers you have. DM setters, it could be a lot of different DM setters. The one goal here is to track as many KPIs as possible, right? You don't want to track your DM setters KPIs. You don't want to track your closers KPIs or your dialers KPIs. All you really want to know, right, is really the big important things, right? So show up, the amount of DQ percentage, number of dials. I'm just naming a couple of things that you should be focusing on. Number of calls taken, closing percentage, new leads, like how many new leads a day, right? Another one could be like given, offers given, meaning how many times did your price drop? All these different numbers are literally going to increase the amount of sales you're going to get. And the head of sales should be worried only about these different numbers, okay? There's obviously more numbers out there, but these are the numbers that I'm going to talk to you about right now, okay? So the only reason why you even need these numbers at all, or even in the first place, is because it's going to improve the way you do everything else, right? So for example, if people aren't showing up, guess who the head of sales is going to have to talk to, right? The DM setter. If people aren't showing up, if we're having a DQ problem, DM setter. If it's a show up issue, DM setter. If it's the number of dialers, dialer. New leads, DM setter. Offers given, closer. Closing percentage, closer, okay? It all leads back down to the head of sales. You want to know exactly where your money is going, especially if you're doing paid ads, right? So with the paid ads, this is something you're going to need to track as well, right? So the media buyer is going to have to track the paid ads, right? You're going to have to track the amount of actual content you're posting out there, right? So how much content are you putting out there, right? Because if we did $250,000 by posting about maybe 100 posts in a month, and we post 100 posts in a month, next month, right? And you're actually tracking every single post. So if you posted 5 YouTube videos in a month and 100 short form, right? You're gonna have to repeat that same thing next month. If you can predictably scale, you wanna double it, right? Or you wanna niche down. Okay, how can I make the 100 videos better? How can I make the 5 YouTube videos better, right? There's 2 ways to scale. Either niche down and really tone down on what you're doing, or just do more of it. Right? Volume is always going to negate luck. And if you have the numbers to actually back it up, you're going to know how to predictably scale, right? So with this, right, all this is doing is you're just reporting everything to the head of sales, everything to the head of sales. So again, now you're only talking to the content creator, right? So the content director is only talking to the founder. The head of sales, right, is only talking to the founder, right? Now let's talk about fulfillment. So now you're gonna need a customer success manager, okay? Now with the customer success manager, this actually is a very important role. As a matter of fact, it's the most important role of every single one of them, right? This is really what's gonna keep you in business, right? Because marketing is gonna get you sales, sales are gonna get you sales, but the customer success manager is gonna keep your business alive, right? Because the word is gonna spread quick. If your coaching program isn't good, you're gonna die out. Just because the word will spread. One guy will tell you it's another one, right? Then it's only a matter of time until it just dies out, and then you're done, you're cooked. Okay, now this CSM, preferably, I want them to be good at sales, right? Just because they're gonna cross-sell. So for example, let's say there's a crypto mentorship out there, or maybe like some sort of an Airbnb mentorship. and you teach people. So on one side you have like a mentorship program, and then on the other side you got like a done for you, right? The customer success manager literally knows every single one of the mentees, right? Now, what you want that specifically a girl, if you want that girl to be is good at sales, right? Because once they see the student succeed once, now we're gonna slap another price tag on their head and be like, hey, listen, we also have this as well, right? So if somebody succeeded in an Airbnb, right? Let's say they got their first Airbnb and they're gonna need another one, or maybe they're gonna need more business funding. You as the founder, you might not know as much as a CSM, because you can't understand what 100 students are going through. The CSM can. They can hire VAs, they can hire people underneath of them, as long as they know where every single one of their prospects or every single one of their actual students is at, right? So now you can upsell them. Hey, listen, we have a Section 8 available as well for $30,000, right? We find it for you, it's completely done for you. If it's some sort of a crypto mentorship and you got a low ticket, literally just giving plays, right? Now cross-sell, right? So if that student is making money and the customer success manager knows, now sell them on a different product, sell them on a mentorship. Hey, listen, you're successful with our drops, right? Imagine how successful you would be if we even taught you how to do it yourself. And now you're adding a 10K, 9K, 8K program on top of that. They already bought once a buyer, always a buyer. Because you gotta realize, right? There's a whole pie, right? There's a whole pie that people are gonna buy. People wanna get informed in anything, right? Your only job as a coach is to fill that pie as much as possible. So if you're teaching somebody sales, right? Now they're gonna wanna go to somebody else and learn marketing. They already bought from you, so offer them marketing as well, right? And if somebody's learning marketing, they're gonna have to need to go to sales. So now sell them something on sales, whether it be like salespeople, a program, coaching, whatever it might be. You wanna get as much of the pie. Realize what people want, okay? They want marketing, they want sales, they want fulfillment, they want real estate, they want crypto. There's so many different things. If you loop it all around together, right? You're gonna make money. So for example, if you're a B2B businesses, maybe you're helping agencies scale, or maybe you're helping coaches scale, or whatever it might be. Coaches are gonna want ads, they're gonna want editing, they're gonna want YouTube, short form, closers, fulfillment, CSLs, systems, okay, cool, sell all of it in a step by step, right? Make sure that you don't bombard them with information. Sell them step by step, okay? So if they make their coaching program, they make their first $10,000. Okay, cool. Now slap another price tag on it and add a media buyer, add VAs to systemize their front end, right? Now what's the next problem? Okay, they have way too many leads and they can't close. What are they gonna need from you? They're gonna need sales reps, okay? Now once they have so many people on the door, they're selling, what are they gonna need? Because they're stuck on fulfillment. What are they gonna need? They're gonna need a customer success manager. So you're gonna be with them step by step by step, because you're gonna predictably scale them by knowing what they're gonna need. And that's why they're gonna keep buying from you again and again and again. So instead of charging 9K up front, now you're charging 9K for one thing, 9K for another thing, 9K for another thing. That just 3X's the LTV of an actual customer, okay? So that's what a cross-sell is, right? It's not an upsell, it's a cross-sell. It's selling a completely different product that you didn't even offer them at the beginning, but you know they also need, right? So this, again, it's gonna track. So you're gonna track literally every single one of them so you can collect more LTV, so LTV in the long run, okay? So again, you're only gonna be talking to the customer success manager. Now you're only talking to 3 people and your system is literally running for you 90% of the time, right? Now, I want you to realize that the most important thing a founder needs to do is to think. And I know I left you guys off with what this was, but I want you to think and ultimately hire, right? Think and hire. That's the only 2 things you need to do as a founder whenever you're systemized, right? Because think about ideas that are gonna generate you more revenue and then hire the specific people about it, right? So in your eyes, right, let's say, this is something that I know, right? So from 0 to 10K, your only job, right, is to distribute as much content out there, okay? So 0 to 10K, distribute as much content because you're still testing the idea, right? From 10K to 50K, your only job is to literally solidify yourselves because you already distributed enough content that now your only job is to make sure the calls that you're booking are getting closed. That's literally from 10 to 50K. That's gonna get you to the next hump, okay? From 50 to 100 and 100 plus, the only job as a founder is just to think, okay? Because your fulfillment should already be good. It's just think. How can you make the most amount of money? How can you get out there? And by thinking, right, I literally mean, how are you gonna become a millionaire? Think about millionaire shots, right? So now you're thinking about SaaS, right? You might thinking about SaaS, you might think about apps, SaaS, some sort of a website, right? Now you're thinking about masterminds, right? Only mastermind. So when are you gonna do your next mastermind, right? Because now when you're literally 100K, 200K, quarter mil plus, your only job is to literally solidify yourself as that person. Be that person for everybody that they look up to, right? Now you're talking about podcasts. We're talking about podcast, right? Now you're talking about webinars, right? Okay, so every single one of these, right? So for example, this needs a hire. Guess who you need for this, right? You need a dev. Masterminds, they're gonna need a hire. Guess who you're gonna need for this? A producer. Somebody who can actually do this for you, right? Like make it all happen. Podcast, right? Who you're gonna need? Somebody famous, right? Maybe get on a famous podcast, get somebody to get you there, right? Find a middle guy who's gonna get you to those places, right? Webinars, now you need a back-end guy for this. So, back-end guy for this. This alone, each one of these will probably generate you 100K, right? Only job you need to do is just hire the right person for it. That's literally about it. Hire the right person for every single one of these. Think and hire is the only thing a business owner should be really stuck on and focus on, right? Because everything else will just work 24/7. You don't need anything else, right? You need to know how to predictably scale, have the right SOPs, right? So every single one of your hires should have some sort of an SOP like this, right? So for example, my sales scripts, right? I have literally example calls, right? I have example on how to pitch deck. I have examples on how to contract and payments, right? I have a high ticket closing system, the SOP, right? So key steps. Step 1, establishing strong foundations. Initial lead contact, right? Implement the 7-11-4 like we were talking about, right? Personalized communication, use the 4W system. I'm teaching them how to close. That way I cloned myself. Because I don't want to hop on a call with somebody who I just onboarded and tell them the same thing that I told the last guy. So what I do, I record it once, and then I send them that, right? Close the sale, follow up, notes, and then here's the video on it if they want to watch it themselves, okay? If they need some sort of a team KPIs, here's the teams, right? Receiving payments, here's the payments that I won't really click, right? If you're talking about YouTube tracker, here's the exact video, right, that I'm about to post. Here's the inspiration behind it. I literally just plug it in from my editor here, right? So I don't even have to communicate with the editor. My editor is editing this video already, right? All the editor needs to do is just ready to post. And all I do is I just get the raw footage from you, or I get the final project from you, and it's done, right? That's how I communicate with every single one of my guys. It's literally so simple. I have a to-do list here. I have what I need to do, complete it. I know exactly what my offer is gonna be, right? I have the KPI trackers behind it. All it is literally all one really big system. Even for my appointment setters, right? The optimized deal flow, right? It's all here. Right? They all have the questions, because the last thing that I want is somebody to ask me obvious questions. So every single questions that anybody might have, I just have it here. And I have my 3 main people. So I have my sales manager, I have my marketing, who's a G, is editing this video, right? And I have my backend fulfillment, my CSM, right? They track in a completely different scale. But that's what it's gonna take to need, because you gotta realize whenever you're handling this amount of calls every single day, you need to do something different. Look at the amount of calls I have every single day. I have literally from 10 to 20 calls every single day. And I'm not stressing about it. I'm not stressing about it because I have a guy already worrying about that. He just reports back to me about the KPIs that we were talking about. Every important part about the sale, I know. I know what I need to fix, right? Because if we have a DQ issue, I know who to lean back on, right? If we haven't given enough offers, I know who to lean back on, right? If they're not literally infoed enough about the product, then I know who to lean back on, which is the marketing. Why aren't our leads converting? Why isn't our marketing good enough, right? But you tracking every single one of these, you're gonna literally know, okay? So with that being said, I want you to actually take this video and use it and implement it, right? Whether you're stuck in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K or whatever it might be, I want you to implement it, because the coaching program can always be better, right? You can always solidify yourself, right? I mean, I'm literally getting $2 to $3 cost per leads. All I gotta do is turn on the ads, and I already have so many problems, right? I already have so many leads, I have so many problems to fix. You as a business owner should only rely on 3 people, and only 3 people alone, to just scale your business to $250,000. So if you like this video, literally just like it. So if this is something you're interested about, literally just write me a comment, a question or whatever it might be at the bottom of the video. Write anything down, right? Whether you're stuck in show up rate, whatever it might be, I'm gonna make another video on it, right? Because the goal with this YouTube is literally to scale it to a $250,000 without even having to pay me. I don't want you to pay me, okay? Any question you have, write it down in the comments, whether you're starting or not. If you wanna get into sales, let me know what you need. If you wanna get into coaching, let me know what you need, and I'm gonna make a video on it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.